What happens when you don't convert right out of the gate?
Mm.
Does that just mean everything's broken? No. It means, number one, Facebook is struggling to identify your relevance. And the way that it achieves relevance is reaction, response, direct response. When you're not getting a response, when your ads are not getting comments, likes, and shares, Facebook is going to struggle to put the right people in front of your offers, period. It does not mean that your creative is bad. And that's a key point. It doesn't mean it's good either. But that's a key point to realize, that you're not actually even getting your fingers on the pulse of how your creative can perform when you are served with high CPMs, high CPCs. You know what, Ivan?
On a technical level, there's a bunch of different ad goals, right? And the ad goals must include the pixel, right? Are we training on the pixel, the ad account, or both?
So the pixel is being programmed to reach out to different people. So on a traffic ad, so what's the difference between traffic and conversion, right? Traffic ads are going to reach out to more people, to more, this person's kind of similar to this one, and this one's kind of similar to this one. So let's see what they do. Conversion ads are, we are looking for somebody to specifically purchase. So the way it reaches out is more limited, usually. Traffic being more expansive. When you run the same copy in your conversion and traffic ads, your traffic ads will likely see lower CPMs, higher CTRs. Number one, that right there. Your impressions are going to be a lot higher, so you're getting true CPMs. If you notice that when you launch with high CPMs, you don't get the impressions. So you're not actually testing. And that's a key point. And we are in a time frame because of the American presidential election that historically, with just a few, I mean, I say historically, I mean, we've had 2 major elections since Facebook ads have been relevant. That's not very long. By the way, when I was doing research yesterday, how much gross profits do you think Facebook ads have made, period, for everybody across the board? Since Facebook has been running Facebook ads, how much money gross has been generated?
No clue, man. I mean, it's a big number.
It's a big number, but it's not nearly as big as I thought. That's what she said. It's not even $1 trillion. It's in the 800 billions. So we are young in digital marketing on Facebook. I don't think people really put that in perspective. 2 presidential elections, less than $1 trillion in gross revenue. And this is a publicly traded company. They have to have transparency in those numbers by law. So according to the FCC and FTC, if they are giving unsubstantiated numbers or numbers that are not all the way true, they would be in major trouble. So that is really interesting to look at, that the entirety of the Facebook algorithm, which has been updated probably 10,000 times since its inception, is a constant work in progress. Now, take a step back. What is constant in human interaction?
Change and adaptability.
Change, adaptability. Change is the only constant. I mean, it's a cliche and it's absolutely true. The only reason why change doesn't feel like it's the only constant is because our attention becomes static, fixated, obsessed even. You know, we keep telling the same story again and again, and we confirm bias ourselves into it, and we're constantly negative biasing ourselves for it. It's very difficult to break out of that cycle. Now, when you're surrounded in a direct response digital marketing culture that is obsessed with conversions, you need to take a step back and get obsessed with connection. What creates connection? Everything that we've talked about. How many times have I said, get people to raise their hands and self-identify? I can't count. I'm a fourth grade dropout, but I can't count how many times I said it. It's a lot. And there's a purpose for that, because all of this is relationship building. If you're building a relationship with a lover, do you immediately, if you're a man, do you immediately try to stick your dick inside of her? Are you just like, nice to meet you. Can you lie down, please? Because that's how a lot of digital marketers run their funnels. Just spread them, stick it in. No foreplay. Nobody's turned on. He's not even hard and she's not even wet. He's just like jamming, like holding it up and jamming it in. There's nothing going on there. There's no emotion. Nobody's turned on. And yet we're expecting, like this amazing, like, oh my God, I saw Jesus. That's how good that sex was. No. Very rarely are you just going to meet somebody and like, let's fuck, and be like, oh wow, that was amazing. We're meant to be. Very rarely. And yet that's how we run our funnels. We expect immediate seduction, immediate spread them, immediate bend over, baby. And it's just not true. It can be, don't get me wrong. Love at first sight, absolutely possible. And that can be absolutely true if the Facebook gods are in a good mood. And it is that arbitrary. Because one of the things that I pointed out when I was writing and starting to get this program set up for offer owners, to run offers, so many times I have seen creative that did end up making a lot of money get pushed to the side. And if it wasn't ultimately tested correctly, they would have never gotten any equity out of all that work. I see that happen all the time. All the work is put in. Where are you going? Just leaving.
No, come back.
I'm sick of this.
What? Does she live off? Or he?
Come back. Come on. You are a character. So when I run my own stuff, I absolutely run conversion, and I run awareness, I run engagement, and I run traffic, and I run them at pressure cooking budgets. So $20 per ad, and it works. It works almost all the time, and it's preparing the pixel, preparing the algorithm to develop foreplay, to develop chemistry. It just like any relationship, because at the end of the day, we are ultimately only going for identification, getting people to raise their hands to something. And they need to be given the opportunity to do that. And if Facebook isn't giving them the opportunity to do that, like if you're running conversion ads and your CPMs are ridiculous and your impressions are ridiculously low, stop doing that. That's Ivan will testify. I browbeat the shit out of him yesterday, and it's not for anything he did. He didn't do anything. He was just there in front of me. And so he was the one that dealt with the brunt of my frustration that we are not doing this. And I'm like, why? Why do I have to convince the owner of this company that developing chemistry with our algorithm, when it's telling us, yeah, I'm not attracted to you right now. I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling it. And we're like, well, we're just going to keep doing more of it. And the algorithm's like, yeah, but I'm not feeling it. And we're like, yeah, but what about this? No, man, I'm not feeling it. And what it's asking for is engagement. What it's asking for, because Facebook algorithms' number one purpose is to protect its users and protect it from us, because we're predatory. By definition, Facebook perceives all advertisers as predatory. So when you change that conversation, that you are no longer predatory, that you are an advocate, that you are standing up for the people that you want to help the most, and they confirm bias that in comments and likes and shares, then you can leverage that. And 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 that's where exits come from. So when we all want to convert, but we always need to think about preparing the pixel for the future. Does that make sense? And this is the difference. If you're a copywriter, this is the difference between you being a legend and never heard of, and very little in between. So much of what we do now, the creative is going to be inhibited by how we get people to connect with us. So the more we get them to connect and acknowledge that connection, the more freedom we have to grow that business, to test that creative, and to see that creative thrive. Because there's a huge difference between converting and scaling. A lot of people convert, very few scale.